It's when you have a lot of things. It's when things seem to be going really well for you. That in itself is a type of tribulation. It's a type of testing. It's not the negative type. Assalamu alaikum. One of the ways that we misunderstand tests and tribulations is that we think that tribulation necessarily, or fitna in the Quran, or fitna from an Islamic perspective, tribulation, testing, means that it has to have a negative connotation. It means that you're going to have to be in a position where you are having to exercise patience and perseverance in the face of difficulty. There is a flip side to tribulation. One of the greatest tribulations, and it's, I don't know, in my estimation, it's much more dangerous for us because it's subtle. You have to recognize it because its appearance is not tribulation. Is when you're in abundance. It's when you have a lot of things. It's when things seem to be going really well for you. That in itself is a type of tribulation. It's a type of testing. It's not the negative type. That type, a lot of people start to forget themselves and they start to what? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى أَن رَآهُ اسْتَغْنَى. That as Allah says, that nay, verily, the human being transgresses and oppresses once he or she believes themselves to be self-sufficient. The only time you think you're self-sufficient is when you're surrounded with so much abundance that you don't think, or you don't perceive or picture a time where you're going to have to lose it all. So what do you do in that case? If you're in this position of abundance and things, that is a time for you to start recognizing that there is a responsibility that comes along with the things that you have to go and help those that are in need. It is a responsibility for you that, I mean, when you're in a position of power, and regardless of what it is, the thing that you're going to have to ask yourself is, you have to keep an eye out for those who might need your assistance because of your position, because of whatever wealth you have. Those people are going to come to you at some point, or they may not even come to you. You're going to have to go and seek them out. That is really the whole point of zakat, if you think about it. You have a set amount of money, it's past the minimum amount that you need, and it's had the whole year pass over it, and it's not involved in business and all of the rulings of zakat that you can go and ask your imam about. You have to take a portion, 2.5% of that money, and you have to go and distribute it to a particular set of people. Those people, those categories of people that are outlined in the Quran, they're around all over the place. I find it really interesting, sometimes the questions I get on this channel and through Facebook messages and just the conversations that I have, the problems that we have in comparison to what some other people are having to put up with. Our problems are nothing. Like we have, our problems are problems of abundance as opposed to problems of poverty. I mean, think about, you know, the last scatter thought, where the brother is in a career that he hates and he wants to do something that he loves. And I gave the counsel of what I think he should do about that. But there is a level beyond that to think about, subhanAllah. This person is in a job, has a career, a full-time job, where he's getting income, he's able to feed his family, he's able to pay for a place to live for his family, he's got a problem of abundance, and the problem that he has, it's more of an emotional state than it is about anything material. So he's seeking to do something else, and he's actively seeking to change his situation, but he's in a position where he's able to think about these things. Whereas other people, they would, I mean, what would they do just to get that type of positioning? So one of the ways that, I mean, maybe for the brother or for anybody in a position where they think that they're not happy with their situation, the Prophet ﷺ did say that if you're ever finding yourself disliking what you have, look outside of yourself and look at other people, what they don't have, the things that you have that they don't have access to. Look at where you're living versus where most people in the world are living. The very fact that you're able to sit back on your chair or your couch or whatever and look through your laptop, iPad, iPhone and watch these videos, that in itself is a type of privilege. So it is a good thing to get into a habit on a daily basis where you sit back and reflect on your own circumstance and reflect on your situation and compare it with what it could have been. I mean, for myself, I could just think just throughout my history and the things that came and conspired together to put me in the place that I'm in. That in itself should be kind of send a jolt through your spiritual being to think that, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't really complain so much about the things that I'm in. You're complaining about, I'm in a position where I have a full-time job, I'm getting money, I'm complaining about these things. That's not to say or negate the fact that you're not happy, you hate the thing, you have ambitions for something higher. That's fine, but you should always have that kind of check back a little bit. Just think about, like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so negative about what I'm doing. You know, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in that position and for whatever reason you're unable to get out of it, it's good to sit back and reflect. Rida, you know, this contentment with what you've been given is a blessing that very few people reflect on and are granted. You know, no matter what you do in this life, and I remind myself this all the time, no matter what I do in this life, no matter how many degrees I attain, no matter how much money I make, no matter how many material things I possess, no matter what it is that I do in this life for career choices or whatever it is, at the end of the day, none of this is going with me to the grave. I'm gonna go by myself, wrapped up in a white cloth. And the angels are going to come and ask me, and when I go and meet and face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get asked, I'm not going to be able to show off my degrees and show off all of these things and say like, oh, but you know, I'm so and so. None of that is going to matter. So it's just to set priorities. You're here for a very short amount of time, relatively speaking. This dunya is an ephemeral state, very temporary. I compare it to going through, like when I travel sometimes out east to like the Middle East region, I like to go through Heathrow. So Terminal 5. Imagine me going to Terminal 5 and complaining at Terminal 5 that I'm not really comfortable, that things should be a little bit better, and then I start looking to establish myself in Terminal 5 at Heathrow Airport, where I start to look at properties in Terminal 5. And I want to buy things, and I want to sign up for programs, and I want to do all these things in Terminal 5 when I have, say, an 8-hour layover. I know I have an 8-hour layover. At some point I'm going to have to pick up my bags and take off and leave everything behind that I would have bought and tried to set up shop in Terminal 5. This dunya is Heathrow's Terminal 5. It's uncomfortable, you know, it looks fancy, you won't find seats that are really nice, and you will, if you try to buy programs and credit card plans and cell phone plans and any of that stuff, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to get on your plane and take off, and you won't be able to take any of the stuff with you. That's dunya. So, just some scattered thoughts about this subject that I had from the previous video. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.